green and white swans, and you get upstream on the 6 red and white poles. This is the start list. There are 48, I believe, who went to the first round, 30 in the final, and we're down to the top 10. The semi-finals were taken on this course about an hour and a half ago. As you can see, big international field here. A couple of notable names not present. As we see, we have the world #1 at the moment, David Florence, hit a pole and unfortunately didn't quite make it. I think he came through in 12th place. Last year's winner, Ante Bergic, he also won in Tachin against last year. He actually didn't make it as well, came in 18th place, but we do have some very, very strong athletes going today. But Christian, briefly, the course, what are going to be the challenges for the C1 athletes today?
Well, I think that down the bottom is probably going to be the crux move for everyone, the last combo of 2021. But at the top, we've got Jure LENARCIC from Slovenia. This move, number 3, is quite tricky for the guys that paddle on their left, but the righties make a little bit, well, it's a bit easier for them, sorry.
Big stage here today for you. He's 24 years old. He has competed in a few World Cups before. He came 2010. His best result was 9th in Tachin. On this particular course in 2012 on the World Cups, he actually came 31st. And recently, he's been making the semi-finals in the under-23 Europeans. But let's see how he goes today.
He's doing really good so far. It should be a good time to watch, and he looks quite calm and in the middle of the gates, not taking many risks, so it should be interesting. Oh, and just picked up a penalty and did a mistake, and that upstream it's pretty tricky because you really have to use the hole, and you have to use the water, and it's not easy because it's kind of changing a little bit.
Just in case you are tuning in for the first time, if you do hit a pole, that's an immediate 2-second penalty. If you're judged to miss a pole, that's 50-second penalty, so effectively that's game over. As you can see on the bottom of your screen, it's 2 seconds added, but it's so far, it looks like he's putting forward a good time.
Yeah, it's super tight out of that second last up, and he's executed that really nicely. So it's really important to finish off the run pretty strongly, but I think that penalty is going to hurt him.
6 strokes to go over the line. We're just near here, and he comes through 103.05 as a reference. The fastest in the semi-finals was Alexander SLAFKOVSKY from the Czech Republic. He came over in 101.91, and crucially, the first 6 in the semi-finals were all clear. A couple of the top 10 had 2-second penalties, including Ander ESP, but if you have more than 2 or 4 seconds, you're going to have problems to be on the podium here.
Actually, since SLAFKOVSKY was almost in 102, it's a pretty good time because his time was 101 plus a 2-second penalty, which is a 103. So
yeah, I think, like you said earlier, Nuria, being in the middle of the gates and super smooth is critical here to putting down a good run, and yeah, Jure's shown how to do that.
Next to go, it's the Brit, it's Thomas Quinn. He's had some reasonable results. He was in the under-23 Worlds in Australia a few months ago. He came 3rd, got the bronze medal a couple of weeks ago in Skopje in the under-23 Europeans. He came 4th, and he was part of the team that won in Lee Valley. But it's great for him to come to a final. Let's see how he goes.
It's a nice through sticky fingers there. That's a pretty tricky little stopper to get through.
Just pushed against the wall. It seems like pretty fast. He's more aggressive than the paddler we just saw, so we will have to wait for the split to see if it's actually paying off or if the boat is not sliding and getting as much speed.
I was talking to him briefly yesterday, and I know in the Europeans, I think he's been 3 times leading the semi-finals, so he's certainly capable of putting fast runs together.
He was slightly faster at the split, but he just picked up a penalty. Gate number 9, I think it's one of the offsets.
So he's executed up 12 really nicely there, no troubles.
And it's in touch on the second split.
So coming into the second last up, it's really important to try and squeeze out here because you need to get the nose back up to run into this last up. Just working the crossbow really hard there.
those laps, those last upstream at the end of the run can be really tricky because you're tired and they're not easy. So might have lost a little bit of time there.
As you can see, we saw just 1.31 out of touch.
The course is definitely not easy. You've got like quite tricky moves all the way down, and it's good to watch at least.
But they generally characterize the course as fast and shallow.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of places out there where it's quite shallow and you can't be leaning on your paddle or putting down a lot of edge because it really kills the boat speed. So Jonathan MARC,
he had a pretty good run, but he was not really happy with it when I talked to him. He was like happy to be in the final, but he knows he can go faster, and now he'll have to just show what he's got.
So yeah, he's paddling on his left, so that gate 3 is just a little bit trickier to keep the track in there and squeeze it around, but it's quite an advantage around this big left-hand turn. You can really power on the one side here, keep the boat driving. So he's up slightly on the split, it's looking pretty nice. Train a lot with Jonathan back in France, Nuria?
Yeah, we live in the same place in Toulouse. So whenever we're not at school and if we manage to have the same time off, we usually train together in Toulouse and Pau. It's good.
And Jonathan's strengths, what are his strengths?
He's powerful, and you can see that on every stroke. He kind of like move the boat forward, and if he can pull a good run and have a good bottom now, I think he will be fast. He's a little bit low in that last upstream.
Yeah, you just see his tail hitting the rock there.
Well, he's a second up at the last split, so it's looking good so far. And crucially, he's clear.
And gate 21 was good.
Well, there's massive support running down the channel.
Well, we're not far from the French border, so many people came actually to support. It's quite nice.
But in the end, the last section didn't go to plan.
I think he lost quite some time in the last upstream on the right after the drop, and that might have cost him precious seconds because on the top he was doing really well.
Yeah, I think it's really important to stay quite tight on the inside pole of that last upright. As you can see, he was just getting on the outside of that kind of toilet bowl type water.
Next to go, local favourite, often makes the final here. Ander ESP, 26 years old.
And there's going to be a lot of noise for him too, because all the Spanish kids from the club here are running and supporting all the Spanish paddlers, and so far they're doing really well. We have many Spanish paddlers in the finals, and I think ELOSEGI could do something really good. He knows the course, he's training here, and he's usually one of the strong paddlers.
So far this season, he was 9th in Lee Valley, he was 9th in Prague as well.
Yeah, he's got super long arms, that really long reach. Always nice and smooth over the top of his boat.
He's really tight here in the offset, and it seems that it is going fast. And
well,
he is
nearly 2 seconds up on the split.
So looks really good for him right now. Not taking any risk, like in the middle of those two gates. Not the best upstream in the hole, but still pretty good.
Yeah, it's such inconsistent water there. I think he's dealt with it well though.
And he's 3 seconds up on the split, but just touched the up left. So hopefully for him, he will manage to just like keep it in line for the bottom part. And it's good so far. Really good. It should be in the lead.
Just two split gates to go and over the line. as we know, 4th in London Games, 4th in Beijing Games. See what he can do today.
It's a really, really good run. Hopefully, or I think his penalty might just like cost him the first place or the medal.
It'll be interesting to watch, but yeah, great run time, faster than SLAFKOVSKY's raw time in the semi. Like you said, Nuria, that touch is going to be expensive.
It's hard to predict because you have so many big names coming up right now, and we have Benjamin SLO from Slovenia, who's always in the finals and a really, really strong paddler.
First in Tachin, 3rd in Prague, 26 years old. Can put down some extraordinarily fast times. Just can he keep away from the poles?
And he does that move really smoothly. Although he's a lefty, it's pretty impressive what he can do with his boat. Touching the rock here, but don't think it's affecting him too much.
The course designers today, by the way, Natalie Sigurds from Switzerland and the Spanish national coach, CHANUT. They've set a fair course, you believe?
Sorry?
Have they set a fair course? For the lefties and the righters?
I think so.
Yeah, I think there are tricky bits for guys on the left and the right, and that's the important thing, that it's spread evenly. It's gone a little bit wide there on the upright, just blasting out a little bit high, but stayed off the poles.
Well, it's pretty much even on the second split.
Yeah, so he's definitely in touch with Anders, and it's just be a matter of staying tight down here. Working that downstream crossbar pretty hard.
He's a little bit low here, but he has no penalty, so he's been going clear so far. He should take the lead.
Time of reference is 1:02.32. Well, he's well ahead at the moment. Will that be enough? Looks delighted with it. It's the most important thing.
It's a great run by Benjamin. Yeah.
Half the competitors gone. And so far, Denis goes into a convincing lead.
He's doing a really good season so far on all the World Cups. It's impressive.
Yeah, is he ranked 2nd or 3rd overall at the moment? I think it's might be 2nd.
Well, if we're talking world rankings, he's down in 4th place.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if I had to bet on someone, I would probably bet on Michal MARTIKAN.
So far, he's covered all 3 medals, a bronze, a silver, and a gold. So he's the man on form at the moment.
Giant of the sport. So he's span here on his first run, but he's gone direct.
He has a really strong technique, and he's sometimes able to do things that no one else can do, even the K1 men's or any other categories. Is really impressive. And I think he was injured for most of the season last year and didn't manage to do well at the World Championships in Prague. So it was like one of the first year where it didn't actually like manage to perform since 1996 or something.
Yeah, 1995 to 2010 didn't miss a podium on an Olympics or Worlds.
Yeah.
So everyone kind of thought that maybe he was
Oh, that was awesome.
it was over, but I think he's just coming back stronger than ever.
Olympic champion at 17. He's done it all, hasn't he?
I think he was 16 even.
Yeah. Something. Well, he was young before I started.
And he's
paddling.
up. He's
Yeah,
0.9
shredding
seconds up at the moment.
A little bit
low. He might have lost a little bit of time in those last 2 upstream because he was slightly low in the second one as well. So
Squeezing those exits so tightly, though, it's where he makes up a lot of his time.
Should be interesting.
Yeah, he's
Well, 2.28 seconds
Flew down.
ahead of the rest of the pack. Will we get a smile?
That's crazy. No smile. Maybe later.
Well, second at the Europeans, and then medal, medal, medal since then. So it's been all medals so far this year.
I'm glad I just bet on him.
I wonder who took your bet though.
So your compatriot up next. Didn't bet on him.
I'm betting on him as well.
I remember seeing you about an hour ago. You were screaming your head off, running down with the French crew, cheering him on when he actually did his run in the semi-finals. So you should know these, the lines he's going to take intimately.
No, he was not really happy with his run. I think he didn't have really good feelings, and he's just going reverse here, and because he's a lefty, and that would look pretty fast, I think.
Yeah, he kept it nice and tight.
Is that a touch?
Oh, well, I guess we'll see what the judges say. It hasn't come up yet.
I didn't see it, but maybe I'm not the most objective person here.
Nope.
And he just picked up a touch. He probably knows it, so now he's gonna try to go really fast, and he's just 1 second down on the split with the touch, so he's going fast.
Crucially so far, the top two have been clear, however.
Yeah, he didn't feel really good on his first run. He said he wasn't feeling quite like with the water, not being totally in the flow, and but I think now he's just pulling a good second run if he managed to
2.21 down. So
Yeah, I think he lost a bit of time in that upright on MARTIKAN there, so he's got a bit of work ahead of him.
But we saw that MARTIKAN was slightly low in gate 19 and gate 21. Denis a little bit low as well, but
then he clearly a former world champion, so he has the pedigree to put it down.
I think his touch is gonna cost him quite a lot.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Moves into provisional third place, 2.98 off the lead.
Bit of time there down in the second half. Lost on MARTIKAN.
And we can see he's touching with his left shoulder on the exit of that upstream.
Guess it's so hard in the final, just trying to squeeze those lines as tight as possible. It's always a bit of a knife edge, really.
But he's paddling very well this season, and just went back to school for a master's degree this year and started this company. So I think Denis is doing well this year.
Busy boy, 34 years old. Jon ERGUIN, another Spanish competitor so far in the World Cups, was 39th in Lee Valley, 33rd last year in the Worlds in Prague. Crucially, in 2013 on this very course, he came 20th in the C1, so he's certainly doing well on form to actually get safe for the final.
Yeah, and so you always kind of have to watch out for the locals. They know the course, and they usually do really well here. And he's looking really good so far.
Yeah, super smooth, keeping the boat running. Nice and tight on the poles there, just losing the track in a little bit compared to MARTIKAN.
He's 2 seconds down compared to MARTIKAN, but MARTIKAN is pretty much a genius of the sport, so you never know.
We'll have to see.
Tricky upright on the stopper. He's coming just a little bit too tight there.
Course 300 meters long today, gradient of 1.6 meters, so it's, the water's flowing, I think it's about 10 meters a second, but it's certainly certainly going fast.
And he is 6 seconds down, so he picked up a penalty, and in that upstream in the hole he kind of tried to force it and didn't stay with the water feature, and I think that might have cost him few seconds, probably 2-3 seconds.
Bearing in mind the leading time so far is 99.16. It's not going to trouble the leaders. Third point is compatriot Denis Gagosinet 102.14. So now, unfortunately, it's not the greatest run today.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be disappointed with that. Like you said, Nuria, if you try and force it and not work with the water here, you can really get punished. It's deceptively difficult.
Yeah, the one of the main point in SEO is like sometimes you don't have to do huge mistake to lose a lot of time. Just small mistakes, because the water is not that fast, are gonna cost you, like, you lose all your speed, and then it's really hard to get your speed back, and it can cost you lots of precious time, especially if you have a penalty on top of that.
Good crowd locally. Weather hopefully going to hold. It's looking good. Matej Benjamin wasn't in the Slovakia A team, so he's actually spent the last month or so playing ice hockey every day, he told me yesterday.
Ice hockey in the summer.
Well, he lives in Bratislava, so it's the Slovakia national sport, which can be excused. But it does mean that Michael Martikal so far has guaranteed himself a medal, which is consistent to what's done in the season so far.
Well, Slovak will definitely have a gold medal in this event, because the next two competitors are Matej Benjamin and Alexander SVK. Slovaks are really strong in C1, and he's doing a great run so far. He didn't make the team for the World Championship this year, but they have 4 spots for every World Cup, so he won't be racing the Worlds, and but he's been doing great on the World Cup so far. And
a bit like Hannes Egner, who we're going to see in a few minutes in the K1s. It's you don't have to be if you're in a strong nation. It's just it's tough. It's really tough. But so far, we saw a few seconds ago he was up on the split.
He's doing a really good run. No mistakes so far. No penalties, and
still up.
Still up on the split.
Yeah, his reach is super long. He's a really tall guy, and he's got those super long arms. He's reaching out.
Oh, and that was really tight.
Yeah. Just having to wait a little bit off the pole there. Punts out. This is going to be a really nice time.
Well, time to go for is 99.16. It looks like he's in touch.
Probably going to take the lead right now.
Significantly. Hey.
And he's happy about it.
Punches the air in delight. 0.68 of a second. Guarantees himself at least a silver medal.
So far we have 2 medals for the Slovaks. Gold and silver, but the next one could actually get on the podium, and that would be like a Slovak podium. They've already done it in the past, and it could happen again today.
Alexander SLAFKOVSKY, he's been in Deep Creek with like similar to many athletes, but also he was telling me yesterday he's actually climbed the highest mountain in Slovakia and was skiing down it a few days ago. So again, he's had a lot of fun when in the downtime. They're not just paddlers. So far his results this season in the World Cups, he came 6th in Lehigh Valley, 6th in Tachin, 6th in Prague.
And he's the current European champion from this year in Vienna. At the beginning of the season, just before their World Cup started in June.
Yeah, it's definitely some good quality coming out of Slovakia. He's on a really nice run so far. Nice.
And that looked really good. The boat was keeping the speed the whole way for that right upstream.
And he's in touch. He's in fact half a second up on the first split. So this podium, Slovakia podium, could well happen.
Yeah, the run on the boat is just, it's really nice at the moment. It's just had a little bit of issues there. His bow's pearled a bit, but he's pulled it back.
Yeah, the front of his boat got underwater, but at the same time he kind of stayed like tight from the inside pole, so that should be fast, and he's still like half a second up on the second split. So if he has a good bottom part, he could definitely take the lead, and he's tight in that up 19. Wow. It's incredible. It's just a perfect battle between the Slovak C1, and looks like a national race, really.
But it is. The first two went clear. First time 98.48, second time 99.16.
And he's
Wow.
taking the lead from his like.
Says he's got great flexibility. Slovaks 1, 2, 3. It looks like that means a lot to him.
That was
Well, Matej BENUS arrived and had a really good run and claimed it and was really happy about it. And Alex just managed to have a faster run. It's incredible.
yeah, there was a big step up from the semi to the final there. I think like 4 seconds faster than his semi-final run. That was just some really beautiful racing.
I think we can go and thank them for the show right after the race, because that was really exciting to watch, actually.
And your compatriots, Denis Gagoshinu was in 5th and Jonathan MARC in 9th. Would they be happy to make the final, or would they, I suppose once you get into it, you want to do well?
You're always happy to make a final, but you're always slightly disappointed when you make mistakes like that. So I think they'll be both ambivalent feeling.
But so far we've seen, like you mentioned, Christian, we've seen significantly faster times in the semi-final, which doesn't always happen.
Yeah, it always. I guess I've never really raced in a final, but Nuria knows a bit more about that. It seems pretty tricky to deliver some.
You know, it's canoe slalom. You never know what can happen. Sometimes the final is slower than the semi-final, and.
Let's just go confirm the official results. SLAFKOVSKY, BENUS, MARTIKAN, Slovakia take gold, silver, and bronze.
Yeah, you never know what can happen. So sometimes the final's faster, and sometimes the final is a disaster because everyone is under pressure and no one managed to pull off their best run. So right now it was just, I think all the C1 men paddled like pretty well. We didn't see big mistakes, like a couple of touches and small mistakes that cost them time, but nothing bad. We'll see what happens in the next final with the C1 women.
Going on exactly the same course, average age slightly less. The youngest is 15, I believe.
Yeah, it's a new discipline, so you have more young athletes than in the other categories.
Programmed to join the Olympic Games in 2020. As per usual, Jessica Fox is leading the qualifications. Right, in Prague, she didn't do that, but apart from that, she normally is there or thereabouts in the semi-finals. 3 Australians,
3 Spanish,
and 2 French.
And 2 French. And yeah, most of the big names are here. We have Katerina Oshkova from the Czech Republic, Rose Lawrence, Jess and Ali Burrows from Australia. And not to forget Mallory Franklin, who can pull out really good runs.
They go on exactly the same course. If you judge by the semi-final times, the fastest men was 1:01. Jessica Fox was down in, I believe, 119.
And Nuria Villarrubia was 118, so that should be a good fight, but she had 3 penalties, so she was pretty far. But if she managed to go clean, Jess and her could probably...
Yeah, it's going to be really head-to-head. Nuria's been paddling here twice a day since she was 9 years old. Her family were born here, so it's a slight, not an advantage. Oh, there you go.